And we are live, guys. I'm very excited about this one. Welcome to the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast. My name is Jay Angel. I'm going to be your podcaster for this evening. With me tonight, I have a guy who I met a couple weeks ago. He contacted me and told me about himself, and I wanted to have him on the podcast. His name is Rick Bailey. Rick Bailey does the Saltwater Madness YouTube channel. How you doing tonight, Rick?
I'm doing great. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very good, and
glad to be on.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to have you. Guys, this weekend I'm going to be at Dularge, Louisiana, which is known as the redfish capital of the world. I cannot wait. I'm going to be fishing with Ricky Ziegler. And October 30th, I will be fishing with none other than Rick Bailey and Lloyd Landry. I'm looking forward to that one. My goodness, I'm looking forward to that one. We will be fishing out of Dularge, Terrio area. I fished that with Greg Combo quite a few times, and man, big specs, gigantic reds. I can't wait. So, Rick, tell me, how's the bite this time of the year in the Dularge area?
Man, look, the bite is great. The more cool fronts that come down, the better the fish is. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome time. This fall and this winter is going to be the best. I'm in contact with my great friend, Lloyd Landry at Outcast Charters. He keeps me updated on everything, and I am so excited about it. He's saying it's going to be off the charts this year, so we'll see.
I fished it a couple times this summer. We were, you had to go further outside in the summertime to find the specs. There's still redfish here and redfish there, but man, when I fish a Dularge area in the wintertime, they're in those dead end canals, and it's so much fun.
Oh man, it's awesome. Awesome time. Awesome fishing down there. Beautiful scenery. Everything's awesome about Dularge at this time of year.
It is. Man, I'll tell you what, when I go down there, I fish with Greg Combo from Mojo Tackle Company. And right there, as far as I'm concerned, that's pretty much all I need down there.
I tell you what, that looks like an awesome looking bait. It looks real.
And this thing is small, guys. I mean, what can I compare this to? Right here's this thing is small, but you put this underneath a popping cork. Mojo Tackle Company, guys. MojoTackleCompany.com.
I heard of them. I heard some great things about them. So I'm gonna have to get me some of that bait this year. Try out.
So tell me, Rick, what do you use for big specs in the fall?
In the fall time, my go-to bait is a bait called Salt and Pepper by Overcast Lures. I would love to show it to you right now, but I spoke to him. He is sending me some. I don't have a picture of it right now, but I do have a picture or the second bait my choice is. It's called Matrix Shad.
Sure.
It's called the Green Hornet. This bait here is a killer in Dularge in the fall time. But like I said, my first bait is the Salt and Pepper, but made by Overcast Lures. That's what I'm gonna start out at this time of year.
Now, does your Salt and Pepper look kind of like this?
Yes, it does. Yes, yes.
This is the paddle tail made by Mojo Tackle Company.
Okay. Yes, that's exactly what it kind of looks like.
That's, in the wintertime, I like to downsize a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's fall time, but wintertime, you do have to downsize. Yes, I learned that a few years ago from Lloyd Landry himself. But the smaller, the better in the wintertime. Yes.
Well, let me ask you about a few things. Let me run through a few things I have here. So what about something like this? Now, this is primarily a bass lure. It's called a bladed jig or a chatterbait, but chatterbait is used by, this is Delta Lures.
Uh-huh.
What about that color right there? That kind of imitates a bluegill, but
yes, that color with that gold spoon on the top that would be a deadly bait for redfish also. I can see redfish hitting that, but what I use for redfish is a bait by Jaboom Bait Company.
Sure.
It's a scented bait, and Jaboom Bait Company actually contacted me to start trying them out, watching my videos. And this is the tube bait. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna try to get it as the best I can here. But this bait here underneath the Death Grip jig head, which is
Sure.
right here, is a deadly combination underneath
You know,
a back carp.
Hey, Rick, why don't you put that really close to the? I want people to see how the death grip actually is held on to the how the soft plastic holds on. Death grip holds the soft plastic.
Okay, I used a bunch of jig heads in the past, but Death Grip jig heads is awesome. It's got the slide on it. The regular jig heads, I found that I went through a lot of bait using them. They'll slide off, a fish would tear it off. But this jig head, made by Death Grip, like I said, got ridges on it. And it holds the bait. And I tell you what, guys, I can't say enough about Death Grip jig heads. The bait don't slide off. You can use it time and time and time. I mean, time again. It's just amazing product, and I recommend anybody to get it.
See, Rick just brought up a really good point, because trout will come up in back of a soft plastic and grab onto the paddle tail, and a lot of times you'll come back with half a paddle tail.
Yes,
or without the paddle tail. Tad Mays just, who the heck is this? Somebody's trying to get on. Stacy just tried to. I don't know who that is. I don't know how she got on. Somebody tried to log on to here. But anyways, Ted Mazy just said, Jay, that is my double secret top bait you're showing. I think he was talking about this.
Right. Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
And I think he was also talking about, the salt crack.
Well, I tell you what, since you're talking about salt crack, look what I got.
Yeah, you got salt crack too, huh?
I got the salt crack. I'm gonna talk a few minutes about this. In the past, I used to use the spray on bait scent, this and that, and I just found for me. Now I'm speaking about me, that it really didn't work out well for me. It didn't last long on a lure, but the guy contacted me through my video and asked me if I wouldn't mind start using it and tell me what you think. So we in Dularge last year, and I was fishing with actually Lord Landry. I was fishing with him along with Mike Trey, and the fishing was kind of slow. So to make a long story short, I said, you know what? I'm gonna try some of this salty crack. This guy sent me just to show, and I pushed them on my lure. They didn't put it on their lure at the time, but I started catching, and he looked at me and he said, man, what do you have here? And I told him. They said, do you have something we can put on our lure real quick? I said, absolutely. And Jay, I'm telling you, as soon as they put it on their lure, they started catching. And we all looked at each other and said, no, this can't be true. But a couple weeks later, the same thing happened. So I started using it again, and I can't say enough about it. He got me hooked, and surely enough, he's a sponsor of mine. And I tell you what, guys, y'all need to get it. It's called Salty Crack. Now, he does make it for bass fishermen. He also had the bass crack, but I don't bass fish all that much. But this is the real deal also, guys.
It is. And, that was the first question I had. Just like you, I had tried this stuff back in the 70s. I tried this stuff in the 80s. Not this stuff, but I had tried scent in the 70s. I tried it in the 80s, tried it in the 90s, and it just didn't stay on. You had to spray it. In fact, I knew guys that even put this on their baits.
I tried that too. I'm not gonna lie to you, I did try that. Yes, but
tried that too. Okay.
Yes, I'm gonna tell you one more thing about the gel. Is when you put the gel on, and you just hit on a good point, that it stays on there. And I find once the fish hit it, they don't let it go. With the other scent, they would slap at it. It looked like there was more slapping at it and just trying to get it out the way. But with this gel, once they hit it, they locked on it. And I find that out firsthand that it's true. It definitely works.
It does work. So in Dularge, what do you look for when you're trying to find a place to stop and fish for speckled trout?
Okay, first of all, you got to find clean water. Number one, and I'm gonna go what works great for me. Clean water. Then you look for the birds. As far as fall and wintertime, birds give it away, especially
But
in
not
Dularge.
all birds.
Well, not all birds. Not all birds. You got to have the right birds, and I know you know what kind of birds I'm talking about. So
Yeah,
the
yeah, the sea pigeons.
right, and then after that, I also look for bait. Bait is a big plus. You know,
Signs of life.
once you locate these, guys, it's on. Just hold on. You can have your limit. I mean, we caught our limits underneath birds, the bait fishing and the clean water, and we back at the dock for 8 o'clock sometimes, most of the time.
Guys, I'm gonna tell you, don't the terns, when I first got down here, people said the birds don't lie. Then I started going out with guys who really know what they're doing. They said, no, no, no. Terns lie. Those are lying birds. And they're
But
seagulls. Seagulls don't lie.
seagulls don't lie. Seagulls don't lie. Now, with that being said, you do catch a lot of smaller ones on the seagulls. You do catch a
Yep.
lot of catfish, but the specks are also there. You have to be patient. You have to be very, very patient when it comes to that. And I don't caught limits underneath birds a lot. Other times I throw and they call line birds. And the birds fooled me, and then we just got to move on, of course. But 99% of the time, if you find the birds, you're gonna find the specks.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But also, I like to find things like moving water,
Moving water,
wind
absolutely.
blown points.
Yes, yes.
If you can find signs of life, and that's what I call it when you're seeing them, when you're seeing, the shrimp, you know, bouncing around on the surface, and there's a windblown point, you better believe there's going to be fish somewhere around there.
That's correct. That is right.
What about if one thing I've always wondered? You see a school of seven mullet swimming right underneath the surface of the water. Is that something you would fish around, or are those fish? Because sometimes those things are 12 inches long.
And listen, I forgot to mention the mullet. Mullet is a plus. Anytime you see mullet, guys, stop. If you don't see anything else, but you see mullet, throw in the middle of them. If you see mullet, they got speckled trout also. That is a guarantee. Um, but yes, we do look for mullet also.
Roy Widgeon from USA Kayak Fishing Magazine just said, "When the birds are working, the rods are jerking."
There you go. He knows what he's talking about. There you go. Yep.
Roy's interesting. He has his own magazine called USA Kayak Fishing Magazine.
Okay.
He just
Good
started
deal.
it, and it's going really well. He's got some. It's a great magazine, guys. Jam packed full of information. Jam packed full of information. Check that out.
I will. I'm gonna have to get on it and check it out.
He's, um. So when you fish with Lloyd Landry, what kind of things does Lloyd look for?
Lloyd actually looks for the same thing. Lloyd, I started fishing with Lloyd years ago, and everything I named, he's the one who taught me about this.
He's the one who taught you that. Okay.
He's the one who taught me. Lloyd taught me. I learned so much fishing from Lloyd, from Outcast Charters. It's unbelievable, guys. This guy is a top-notch guy. When I tell you he's one of the best, he's one of the best. Um, when we first started with him, I didn't know him all that well, but everybody thinks they know everything. I've been fishing a certain bait, certain way, this way, and Lloyd would look at me and kind of take the rod out of my hand and say, "Nope, you need to do it this way." And I can't say enough about Lloyd Landry. He's the best. And guys, if you ever need a charter boat, look him up. Lloyd, outcastcharters.com. His name is Captain Lloyd Landry, and he's gonna and he just don't do it with me. Every client, he will sit there and explain to you what he's doing, explain to you what you're doing, just explain everything to you. And that's what I enjoy mostly about fishing with Lloyd.
Yeah, that's, I guided for 17 years up in Northern Illinois, and
Oh, okay.
that's exactly how I would do it too. I would ask them on the phone, what do you want out of this trip? Do you want trophy fish? Do you want lots of fish? Do you want fish to take home to eat? Because every one of those, I'm going to approach the guide trip differently.
Absolutely.
If they have kids, I approach the guide trip differently. We're going to go after, brim,
Yes. Yes.
just so they can catch fish. If the guy says I want trophy fish, we're going to go to a different lake than the ones I usually guide.
Right.
Where I know there are big fish there, because in inland waters are different. You don't have everything on the same body of water. You have to. It's just a different mindset. You don't have to worry about tides and tide schedules and inland waters. And that's probably the most important thing with saltwater, as far as I can tell. I haven't been doing it for, I've only been fishing the salt for probably 6 years now.
Yeah. So I actually was a big into bass fishing years and years ago, and then my beautiful bride, her parents actually bought a camp in Grand Isle, and
Yeah.
I started fishing in Grand Isle, and I tell you, that was the best thing. I'm so glad that she introduced me to Grand Isle. It was, once I got hooked on saltwater, it was the enemy for freshwater, other than sac-a-lait fishing. It's I was so blessed to be married into this family, and they just turned me on to everything. I mean, as far as saltwater wise.
You
So
know, you mentioned Grand Isle. That is the place I have the most experience fishing saltwater, because it's one of the few places that you really have it that the shore-bound angler has many opportunities available all in the same area.
right, right.
And I
Grand,
have,
Grand Isle, I started fishing there, and I do all my spring and winter. I'm sorry, spring and summertime fishing up there. I actually have camper that I pull up there from May 1st, and I leave it there through September 1st, right after. I'm sorry, September, right after Labor Day, and I can tell you what. I just have to say this: this spring and summer in Grand Isle was off the charts.
so how is your fishing different in Grand Isle than it is around Dularge?
Grand Isle is mostly live bait for me personally. Now, people do use artificial up there, but I use live croakers and shrimp from Grand Isle. I'm sorry, from Bridgeside Marina. I got to give a
Well,
big. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
now, how do you keep croakers alive?
You got to have a good
That's
live
always an
well.
issue.
You got
Okay.
to have a good live well, because croakers don't stay alive all that well without a good live well. Shrimp would last a lot longer than what croakers does, as far as a live well. But when you buy the bait at Bridgeside Marina, they have some of the best croakers and shrimp you ever gonna find. I'm telling you, I got to give a shout out to Buggy and Doty Vegas. They own Bridgeside Marina, and that's the only place I would ever buy bait from, because they have the real deal there.
That's. I'm glad you told me that, because I have tried to keep croakers alive in a 5-gallon bucket with an aerator, and
No, no,
I
no.
can't do it. They're all dead by the time I get to the, and like, that's why I have caught some very big trout on cockahoe minnows.
Cockahose is good. I don't use cockahose because I have so much success with the croakers. This year with the croakers, free lining and the Carolina red croakers, uh, you know, they say we have a shortage on fish, but we caught so many 12 and a half inch specks, along with the 13 up to 20-inch specks. It's just amazing. We had an amazing summer this summer in Grand Isle. Amazing.
Um, we have a comment from the audience. It's Mojo Tackle Company. We were just talking about them. He said Lloyd is a magician, even the days with the terrible conditions. And that's Greg Combo. And man, I've said this before on this podcast many times. Greg Combo can catch fish in his own bathtub. He is
Man,
that
well,
good. And for him to give Lloyd a compliment like that says a lot.
I need to hook up with this Greg Gamble, and maybe we can fish and Dularge too, because I'm always looking for people to fish with. That's one
Yes,
thing about me. I'm always
you and me
willing
both.
to. Yeah, yeah. As long as I'm fishing, I'm happy. You know this. But yeah,
Yes.
I would love to meet this guy. I never
Well,
spoke to him before, so maybe we need to
I
hook
fished.
up.
I fished with Greg 4 times, and he has my highest recommendation. I fished with hundreds of different people over the years as being an outdoor writer and a podcaster. And, I used to have my own radio show back in the 90s.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was up in Illinois.
Okay, great for you. Good for you.
Um, well, I've always loved to do this, and I've always loved to talk. So it's just, a natural thing to start writing and then do talk radio, which, this is just pretty much glorified talk radio.
Well, I'm so glad to meet you. When you called me, I was kind of, do I want to do it or not? But but I'm glad. Listen, I'm glad you called because I'm so anxious to meet you in person and to fish with you. Because I look at some of the articles in the Sportsman magazine, and it's just amazing. The things y'all guys do.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
But I can't do what I do without people like you.
right.
I
Right.
can't do it. Yeah, I've been fishing for 50 years. I'm not a tournament pro. I'm an outdoor communicator. I know how to fish. I love to fish. I'm not the best fisherman yet. I love to do it, and I catch a lot of fish. I've had lots of success, but I'm humbled. I'm humbled every time I fish with a guy like Lloyd Landry or Greg Campbell or you, because you guys teach me so much.
Yes.
And one thing I've learned is how to learn from guys like you.
Well, listen. Yeah, listen. Like I said, I have to give all the credit to Lord. Lord's the one who taught me mostly everything. And I also, and I need to say this also, in the summertime when I first started saltwater fishing, Paradise Charters with Keith.
Yes.
Keith is one of the best fishermen they have in Grand Isle. Guide service. He also taught me a lot also. So I can't go on, with the show without giving him a shout out.
Well, he always talks about using croakers.
Yeah,
that's why the reason I started buying croakers, and then they all died. So,
right.
But you talked about free line. That's my favorite way to use cockahoe minnows, man. Just take that out there, throw it out there, and just let it do what it's going to do.
Now, listen. Also, with the live shrimp underneath the cart, that's another good technique. You catch some big fish underneath a cart with live shrimp.
You sure do.
Yes. It's amazing.
When I'm fishing from the shore, I don't like to use live shrimp. I'd rather use cockahoes because around the shore you're going to get a lot of pinfish. You're going to get a lot of those hardheads.
Right. Yes.
That makes my head hurt. When those things cost 50 cents a piece, and it's not about the money, but it's just about you come back and you have just a little piece of that.
I know, and there go 50 cents, like you just said. Everything is so expensive these days, and you're right. As soon as you use live bait, once they kill it, it's done. So you just soon throw that 50 cent overboard.
And those cockahoe minnows are going like this, and
they go like that.
Fish can't. Now I have actually had crabs eat the bellies out of those.
Oh, really?
Out of cockahoes, yeah. And when that happens, it's time to move, because if there's that many crabs in a place, there's no redfish. Because the redfish will be bedded down when the crabs will be bedded down when the redfish come moving in.
Right.
If you get a school of 10 redfish come in, everything scatters.
Yeah,
they are just they're just, well, other than sharks, and man, sharks were thick around Grand Isle this year.
Well, speaking of that, with that being said, yes, it was. I have a video of mine I released not too long ago showing the shark actually hitting it, and I coming up with a big old speck. This thing was nice, and then I come up with a half a thing. But you can see it was so funny because you could see the shark just attacked it. I mean, it was it was interesting. It was definitely interesting.
Me and about 7 of my friends were surf fishing about a month ago at Grand Isle. and they started saying, "Man, it's Jack Creval's. They're grabbing our baits and making our lines." And I'm like, "Well, what were they doing? Well, were they taking off like a freight train? No, man, they're like, that's not a Jack.
But
Jacks take off like a freight train." And they're like, what are we hooking into?" I'm like, "You'll see."
You'll see. But speaking of Grand Isle in the summertime fishing, also, I really need to give a shout out to one of my great friends, Mr. Jimbo Adams. He also he's a little older than I am, but he also teaches me a lot in Grand Isle. So I have to give a shout to Mr. Jimbo Adams. You know.
Hey, keep talking, Rick. I gotta go get my dog.
Okay, all right. Your dog?
Just keep talking. Well, my dog's stuck in back of my couch. It happens.
Oh, Lord, yes. You better go handle that. But yeah, guys, I wasn't sure I was really up to doing this show, but when Mr. J contacted me, I'm glad I did. Now I'm kind of relaxed because I was very, very nervous doing this. But also, I like to give a shout out to a couple people. Jaboom Bait Company. Overcast Lures, Shag Sporting Good. Guys, if y'all ever need something in Shags, go to Shags, man. They're great, great people to deal with. Jackson Dump Truck Service, My Bio's Restaurant. But if you go to my YouTube channel, you're going to see all the great sponsors I have. I just don't want to leave anybody out, but Cool Concepts. They actually wrap my boat for me. Great window tint company right here where I live at. Cool Concepts. Give them a call for any window tint and wraps you might need.
You know who I would like? You were just rattling off people. I would like to meet Shag.
Absolutely. I can get you in touch with him and Sammy. Sammy actually runs Shags, but I know Shag himself.
Sammy Romano?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to meet him.
Yes. I can make that happen for you. I can definitely make it happen.
I would definitely like to meet him.
Yes. But Def Grid Jig Heads, Crusher Gel, Go Chevrolet. Great friend of mine runs and owns Go Chevrolet, Mr. Nick. For all y'all Chevrolet dyes needs, go to Nick and see Nick. He's the owner of Go Chevrolet. Go see him for a vehicle.
What do you think about a buzz bait?
Buzz bait, believe it or not, I used to use that all the time when I was growing up, bass fishing. And also, I never tried.
What about redfish?
Redfish, I can see them hitting that. I never had to. I never had to try that before. So
I've caught a lot of fish on our Zara spook, both trout and redfish.
Right.
So I don't see why they wouldn't hit something like that. I just buzz baits are exciting. The one thing I do like down here is when you throw a buzz bait, every alligator within 3 miles comes running.
To you. Absolutely. Listen, a great bait. I never had to use anything but the Jaboom 2 bait that we're talking about.
Sure.
Usually when we redfish, that's all I have to use. But if you want exciting, they use a top water, a she-dog or something like that. Top water is especially this time of year. That's the time to start using top water, and I will also use top water. But yes, I'm sure that would work just fine.
But exciting is throwing a swim bait and just ripping it as fast as you can and having a big red hit it.
Oh man, that would get your blood pumping. I can tell you that.
Guys, I was telling about the most exciting red I ever caught. One of the biggest ones I ever caught. I was out with a guide by the name of Tommy Adams. Tommy Adams is also he guides Lake Calcasieu, which is over by, Hackberry over by Lake Charles. And I was using this big old rod. I love this rod, and I was flipping something and the jetty right at where Lake Calcasieu empties into the Gulf. And I was catching small reds, and they were just barely touching it. In fact, I didn't even know. I'm like, what is that? Are those pinfish? He goes, no, those are reds, man.
They're redfish. Huh?
He said, work it. He goes, I know you know how to work it. Next time something hits. And so I got another bite, let him take it, then set the hook, and I caught one. But man, the next bite I got almost took that rod out of my hand. And I set the hook, and You know, I had the drag all the way winch down because I wanted to fight him, and I saw how powerful these fish are, and you know,
They are powerful.
really
They
didn't
very,
even want to bring it into the boat. He says, I do not want a 30-pound red. You know, this was over 40 inches long. I do not want a red this size in my boat that's green, you know. So he
yeah.
dumped it back out and I got to play it for a little bit. But I proved my point that I can play tug of war with one of those things with that rod.
Right, right. They very exciting fish. The battle is a redfish. Once you hook up on a red, you hook for life. I can promise you
Yeah,
that.
that's what I tell my friends, man. That's what. Oh, Tad just said he's caught many reds on a buzz bait. And he
On a
says
bed.
that on a buzz bait, you know, just like I showed.
Yes, yes.
In fact, Tad probably used, you know, something just like this. And he says Deborah and I caught 161 redfish on a Crush City Mare swim bait a month
Okay.
ago.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes.
And if I know
Well,
Tad, he also had this stuff on it too.
oh yeah, I bet he did. Guys, go to crushthegel.com and get y'all some. Order y'all some. Go to their website and get y'all some of that gel. I
But
can't.
161 redfish, you know, you aren't moving those arms. You're going to be driving home going, oh man, my arms
Oh,
are,
man.
my arms are.
I think you'd have to take a day off of work just to get your body back in shape after that. That's a lot of reds. But I'm gonna be spending all my yes, I'm gonna be spending all my time down in Dularge this fall and winter. A lot. So this is my time of year for that place. So looking forward to it.
Oh, Tad actually says that they were using shad crack rather than
Shad
salt
crack.
crack.
Okay. I don't have any of that. All I use is the salty crack. That's this right here. And Tad needs to send me some of that.
Yeah, but okay, so we got Tad's secrets out.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Don't worry, Tad. We won't tell anybody.
Yeah, the secret's out. Secret's out.
We won't tell anybody.
Yes. Roger that.
Well, if you want to keep secrets, do not tell a podcaster because by definition, I have a big mouth.
Yes, yes. Well, that's your job. You got to get the information out to people. You know?
Yeah.
I'm willing to help anybody. Anybody got any questions for me? Feel free to contact me on Saltwater Madness. I'll answer anybody's questions.
That's what I say, man. In these days, there are no secrets.
No.
You might have a spot that's better than all the rest of them. And if you do have a spot like that, guys, don't tell anybody. I have spots like that, and you're never going to hear me talk about it on the air.
Right,
In fact,
right.
Rick and I were talking about that before. We have a spot that we both know, and just freaking amazing sized trout there. And
Yes,
nope.
yes. But it's funny, you know, a couple of people that I know, don't you tell them our spots now. I said, come on, guys. There's enough fish out there for everybody to catch, be honest with you. I mean, it's
how big's the coast? How big is
huge.
the marsh? How big is the inshore area that we fish? Thousands upon thousands of square miles. It just.
But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. My favorite spot in Grand Isle in the summertime is fishing the beach. When you can get out on the beach, Elmer's Island, all the way to the Fouchon barges, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong.
Well, I told you I had that whole crew out there, and we were surf fishing. You know, just wait out until you don't feel comfortable waiting anymore, and just start casting. And we were catching fish one after another, and there were about in my field of vision, I could see 3 charter boats.
Right. And that's another hint, guys. Another great hint he just brought up. If you're fishing and you see a charter boat captain, please respect them. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
They're out there, and I have to say that. They're out there. That's what they do for a living. Now, if you see 3, 4, 5 charter boat captains, 9 out of 10 times, you might want to stop in that area. It might give you a little clue but I'm not telling you, please respect them because they're out there making a living. They have clients on a boat. Please, guys, respect the charter boat captains.
But something about Elmer's Island, you know, you have to have a permit to enter there now. Just it's a fact of life, guys. Don't get caught out there without your $20 permit.
Yes, absolutely.
It's going to cost you a lot more than 20. But okay, enough of that crap. Um, you go out there, you go into the parking lot. There's going to be a guy with a side by side who's going to come right up to you, talk to him, tell him, hey, I'm here fishing. Can you help me? And this is a service. It's a free service. But if you flip them a 20, you just say, I want to go to a place guys have been catching fish. And they're going to put you right, man. It was 5:30 in the morning when we got there. The sun was just coming up. They took us to a spot. Literally on the first cast, I caught a trout, and it was like that for the next hour. Just almost every cast, all 6 of us were catching trout. That's how many fish there are down here, guys. If you've never fished Southern Louisiana, put this on your bucket list. Go out with a guy like Lloyd. Go out with a guy like Keith.
Paradise Charters, Outcast Charters, and listen, guys, they have all kind of other guides like on an island and stuff like that. But yeah, please be patient with them. Don't get your boat and the reason I'm saying that because I learned it from firsthand. I'm fishing with Lord or Keith, whatever, and yeah, their boat is all wrapped. People know they charters, and I'll be darned if they don't stop on top of you. And create a mess.
I told you I guided, and I guided for 17 years, and I had to get used to that. But on the places I guided, I had about 30, 35 different spots on these lakes, and if it started getting crowded, I'd just pull up and move to another spot.
Yes, pretty much that's what.
And my boat was faster than theirs, so
yeah, probably a lot.
My boat was faster than theirs.
And if you respect them, if you do respect them, and you ask them a question, 9 out of 10 times they're gonna tell you what they're using for bait and how to use it. If you respect them,
if you came up in back of me, if all my customers were fishing out of the port side, and you came up on my starboard and said, "Hey Jay, man, I can't get anything," I'm going to tell you what I might even throw you a package of baits.
Matter of fact. You laugh, and a lot of people tell me that because I share. I'm not one to keep secrets when it comes to fishing that well. I just want to see everybody catch,
Absolutely.
And I share everything I use that day, how I use it. I'm not shy on doing that. A lot of people get upset with me for doing that, but, it is what it is. There's enough fish out there for everybody to eat.
9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell them, I'm getting out this color chatterbait.
Right.
They're going to use it and I can't tell you how many times I've even given people lures, and they text me 2 days later, man, I didn't catch anything in those lures.
With that being said, same here. I give them lures. If they don't have it, I throw them a handful of them.
Yeah, because
that's just me.
I mean, I have more stuff than I can ever use, and I love each and every one of these lures. I keep them out so that when I get up in the morning and I'm on my way out to work, I can look at my fishing rods on the wall and all my lures, and life's good.
Yes. And
it's good. I have a cool life.
And also another shout out I need to give is to My Bill's Restaurant. They're one of my sponsors. Guys, if y'all ever in a River Parish area, if y'all in a Bayou area too, it's called My Bill's Restaurant. They got some of the best po' boys and seafood you're ever going to eat. Give them a shout. My Bill's Restaurant, Laplace, Louisiana.
Laplace, okay.
In Laplace, stop by. It's one of my good friends own it, and they have some of the best food you're ever going to eat. Trust me. So I have to give them a shout out.
Well, speaking of shout outs, it's 40 minutes after the hour.
Okay.
Why don't you just run down your list of shout outs, man?
I said a lot of them already, but let me go down my list to make sure. Lord versus Mag. I think I gave everybody a shout out already. Just speaking, tell you during the podcast. So I want to thank them a lot. Without them, they make my life a whole lot easier for my great sponsors. So
absolutely, man, I agree. I can't do this on my own. There's just no way. I'd like to do a couple shout outs. I'd like to shout out the Delta Lures. Fred King sent me a bunch of stuff. DeltaLures.com, guys. Delta
Right.
Lures. Also, I'd like to Crush It Gel. Tad Mazy's been amazing to me. He introduced me to all these people, including you. Also, Greg Combo of Mojo Tackle Company, guys. Greg Combo makes some art. He sells some fantastic lures. I bet you I've caught. I bet you, it's not an exaggeration to say I've caught 1,000 trout on these things.
Oh, I can bet. I like I said, I never used them before. I never heard a guy, but Lloyd talks great about them. A couple people talk good about their baits that they last, and I'm looking forward to getting some of that. And also this Crusher Gel. I don't know the guy personally like that, but I hear that he's a lot of the professional, and maybe you could correct me with this. A lot of professional bass anglers out of Florida actually uses this. Did you hear that? Is that correct, or
out of where?
Different states, Florida, Alabama. I hear they're pretty big. Crusher Gel. I hear they all over.
Yeah, I know. I had Eddie Carper on, and he's one of their big Crush It Gel's bigger promoters, and he's out of Oklahoma. He's living in Ohio right now, and he's going to be fishing. He's going to actually be fishing some of my home waters of the Mississippi up there between Iowa and Illinois. And I was telling him a few of the places I've caught fish up there.
Right. Well, that's great, man. Actually, it must be a good product if you got bass anglers, pros using it like that, and people that fish for a living using it. So it's got to be good. It has to be good.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm sorry. Somebody's trying to talk to me. I don't understand what he's trying to say. I don't understand what he's trying to tell me. Mr. Eddie Carper is the man. That's what Tad just said. And I agree, man. Eddie Carper, I wish him the best of luck up there fishing in the Mississippi River. The Mississippi River can be difficult for bass fishermen. And until you get a little bit further north, they're not, when you go up there to the you get up there between around Minnesota. I've caught a lot of fish there. Actually in La Crosse, Wisconsin, that's where I fished most of my bass tournaments is out of La Crosse, Wisconsin. And yeah, Brenton, he said he's going to give the fence a try. Yeah, try that. CrushItGel.com, man.
Yes.
Crush It Gel.
Crush It Gel. Yes, sir. That's the real deal.
Brenton, thank you for commenting. Well, anyways, man, with that, guys, it's Wednesday night. Make your plans to go fishing tonight because you only get to do this once. And believe me, man, this life goes fast. And man,
listen,
I'm going to fish as much as I can.
One more shout out I need to give. Definitely, I can't.
Sure, go ahead, man.
It's my beautiful bride. She allows me to fish. I do fish
sure.
live. She puts up with me while I'm fishing and the stories I tell her. But without her, this can't be possible either. And guys, check out my YouTube channel. I'm gonna have all my videos for this fall and this winter on it from Dularge, Louisiana, and also have all my videos from this spring and summer from Grand Isle, Louisiana. Check it out. Give it a shout. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Please like and share it. If you like it, go ahead and share it. If you don't like it, just pretend you like it. Just hit the like button anyway. But other than that, it's been great, man. This has been. I'm glad you had me on.
His YouTube channel is called Saltwater Madness.
Saltwater Madness, yes, sir.
Go ahead and look up Saltwater Madness on YouTube. He also has a website, saltwatermadness.com. It's in the lower left of the screen. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to the Let's Talk Fishing podcast. Also, man, Rick, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to our listeners here on the Let's Talk Fishing podcast.
Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to fishing with you on the 30th. So don't forget about the 30th with Lord Landry.
Oh, there's
and I know you're going to be doing some video. You're going to be doing some writing for the magazine. Look, in your podcast, man. Look, I'm looking so far. This is going to be great, man. It's going to be great.
It is going to be great. I'm looking forward to that as well, man. We're going to catch us some fish, do some video, and take some pictures. And with that guy, Rick, please stick around.
Okay. I sure
I'm
will.
going to end the podcast with that. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in.